Welcome to Dell EMC Networking Tech Talk with OpenManage Network Manager. And this is OMNM 6.5, and I'm Bill Acevedo, and today we have topology as the topic. So topology is accessible in several different ways. Just want to point out that on devices, if you wanted to come off of the resource manager and right-click and go to a topology view, you can render that specific device in topology and drill into its specific ports and interface, that kind of thing, if you need to. Topology in general, once you've discovered all of your devices and you've discovered some links, you should have a useful topology. So I'm going to go over to the topology tab here. Now, if you don't have links, what you're going to end up seeing is a topology that just has a row of devices all lined up, because we don't know we don't know the relationships until the links are discovered. So make sure you have LLDP on, or some other discovery protocol, or you've discovered other layer 2 or layer 3 links, BGP, OSPF, RIP, those kind of things. And if you have, then you'll have a more interesting layout. Now, the default layout here doesn't look like this. And so what you're seeing here is some customization. So I want to start over here on the right-hand side. On your topology, once you render it, you'll have this ability to move around your topology. You have lots of devices. You may want to focus in on one area, but you can move it around there, or you can zoom in if you need to, zoom out if you need to. You can also set the layout to different types of layouts. And so if you wanted to, right now I have a sort of a radial layout, but you can change your layout to be flat line if you wanted to. Here's a hierarchical. I'm just clicking on those rows here. And so there's different options here for how you want this to be laid out. And so this is messing up my default view. So I'm going to go back out of this real quick. I'm going to go back. Those aren't saved unless you save them. And so I'm going to go back to my original view. And so this is my default view. And so what you're seeing here is I have chosen this view here that has the balloon layout. But I've also further customized this by placing an image on the background, and I've moved various pieces of equipment into their locations. And so the way I put the image on the background is you click this edit up here. On the top bar here, there's a little pencil. If you click edit, you'll notice that there are some, down in properties, there are some things here. So you can modify things like the background color. You can create an image source, and that's what I've done. I've just basically pulled an image source in and put this on the page here. And so what you see is I have various devices in Corp Office, Caltrans, Palladio, Blue Shield, and that sort of thing. And so this way I can look at my topology from a graphical point of view, which helps me determine where there's problems they're at. Other things you're seeing on here are the ability to do linked views. And that's simply done by coming to the add over here and adding a label or a linked view or a cloud. And what I can do is I can basically drill into another view. And as I double click on that, it will go into another view that shows me more focused area of devices in a particular area. So you can stack these and you can go back and forth to get to different views. Here's another view here that's a different view, and then I have another link back to get to my view. And so you can you have that kind of ability, especially when you got lots of devices. You can't possibly have it all on one page, so it helps you break it out a little bit. So what you're seeing here is, again, the links. You're seeing various Ethernet links. It will tell you what kind of link it is. When you hover over it, you'll see the information. You also see if you have alarm states related to a link. You'll see one here, a critical alarm related to that. You'll see others that are in an informational state, or the yellow for an IP next hop minor link. We also have alarm states rolling up at the device level. So you'll see some are in the red critical state, depending on what's going on. You know, it could be an internal alarm like a backup failed, or it could be an actual device related alarm. So it could be either thing, anything that could roll up. And you have full control over what you want to roll up to these particular devices. And so on the device level, I can simply click a device. And if I want more information on that, on this lab distribution strip, I can expand it. I can drill into it. So let's just see what happens when you drill in here. And so you'll see it brings up that specific device, and then I'm clicking over here on the balloon view to see various things here. So all I'm seeing is the physical device and the relative ports around it. And so I got my little breadcrumb over here. Go back to home. Probably the most useful thing here, though, is you want to figure out what's this alarm on here. You go to details, and it's going to bring up similar to what you get off of the resource manager when you go to details. We're going right to the device to figure out what's going on, but you can drill into the alarms area, and you can see what the last alarm was. This happened to be a backup failure on this device. Some pattern didn't match. It's like a syntax error or something. But you can immediately see what that alarm was and see the event history on this. This area also helps you troubleshoot in other areas, and you'll notice it's a separate window. You can scroll it around as you're logging on the device, checking things. So it's meant to be kind of a troubleshooting window. You can look at performance on that specific device, history of other things, maintenance info, and that sort of thing. And so you can help try and figure out what's related to that particular issue. You can do the same thing with the links, and so I can, like for that critical alarm here, I can go to details, and I'm getting the alarm view now. What exactly is going on? Oh, I see it's an Ethernet critical link, and I can look at the alarm, and it's showing me it's a monitor target down. So I had a monitor that was monitoring this interface, and it went down, and so we're getting that alarm here. It could have been a link down or anything like that, but it would show up here, so you immediately know what happened. So it's a very useful way to troubleshoot geographic type network layouts here. On this tab over here, you have various items that help you edit this. We have this wrench icon, which allows you to set the default view. We'll talk about views here in a second. I can add this. Let me go to my sample page here while I'm here. I'm going to do add applications. I'm going to load the view for the topology view here, so we can see what that looks like. And so, as you save views, you're going to see a list of views here, and that's how I was using this demo topology. This is the one that I had for the default, and then I have these two. I was bouncing back and forth with this rack view on that linkage, so you can see how I can bounce back and forth. But if you save a view, this is where it'll show up, and this is where you can set the default. So you can add this to any page. If you put it on the topology page, it's going to lock to whatever is selected here, and so it won't populate topology unless you select one of these, and so it might show blank if you put this on the same page with topology. But you can have it on any other page, and it's just a way to manage your views. You can search for elements. If you want to search for, see if I have something. Let's say I have this box here or something. I'm looking for a specific device, 6.32. Or I can just put in the whole IP, a part IP, and I'm going to say, okay, this is the one I want. I'm going to say select center the item on the graph. So it's going to show me exactly where that is. So it gives me a real quick way to find it in the network, right? Versus you having to look around for everything. And so another thing to mention here, I guess, is on this view here, there is a way to see the actual labels on the nodes. I'm drawing a blank here for the moment. But you can show the node. It's on this one. There's the legend. I should have told you about the legend. So you click on the legend, it's telling you the link, what the links mean and that sort of thing. And then if you want to see by routers or switches, you can click on that last icon there on the right, and that'll tell you what is in that category: router, switch, switch router. Depending on the category, it's how it gets discovered. And I'm drawing a blank on the nodes, but you can show the actual switch and the IP address under each of these nodes. And if we come across that, I'll show it to you. Oh, here it is right here. You just didn't click the right under properties. So you click node labels and it'll show those. Again, it's very tiny if you got a lot of things on the graph. And so if you have a big graph, it might be okay. There's a selection tool here. If you want to select certain things, you can group things if you want to. This hand will allow you to kind of pan around various things. This will allow you to, again, toggle around, get various pieces of information. There's a fisheye if you want to see parts in more detail. You can draw lines if you want to, put those on the page. If you want to show a device or something pointing to something else or going on the network, you can put these lines in there as well. This is the zoom in, zoom out kind of thing also. And then here's your views of where they're saved. And so you can do a save the view as a new copy, and it'll create a new entry in that record, or you can save it on top of the current view. And so here's another way to look at the views that are available. And so you can set these things back to default views, set it back to the network view, the default view, that's the default view, or you can pick one of these to look at. There's filtering. If you want to see certain filtering of links, if you have a big network, you can exclude certain things here if you wanted to isolate that. Obviously, if I deselect all these, all my links are going to probably disappear. So you don't see those anymore because we're not filtering for those. But if you bring our Ethernet links back in, so Ethernet, fly, those will come back. Undo, redo. If you wanted to group things, you could group things through this these grouping buttons over here, and then you could add particular objects and clear them. One thing to note also, going back to the views, I'm going to go back to my page here. That was over here on a different sample page. No, it was over here, right here. When we have the topology views on a page, if you want to export this to Visio, you can do that from the topology view. Simply right-click and export to Visio. And so it renders a nice Visio diagram that you can share or print. I'm going to show you the hierarchical view with topology. This is basically a way to look at your hierarchy or your topology from a hierarchy. So the container views we'll talk about in more detail in another session, but you can use this with other portlets as well. But if you have a hierarchy view, it will only show the topology based on the node you have. And so if you put certain things in a node, it could be by a device type, it could be by a location, however you define these nodes. But if you have topology in those locations, it will show up. In this case, we're seeing alarms by that location. Let's just see if we can drill into one of these up here that has devices in it. Going down to host, nothing there. Let's see if we can go down a little bit more here. Let's go to rack view. And I see here, if I click on this node here, one more. And that's showing basically the nodes in that particular container with all of its connectivity. So it's a way for you to also isolate your views down to a specific area, so you don't have to see everything if you don't need it. Again, we'll cover more of this in hierarchy detail when we get to that in another session. But in a nutshell, that is our topology. Bring that up one last time. And I think we'll wrap this up. And I want to thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time on the next session of Tech Talk.